Well, we check business news with something good to talk about, and it's not oil. Wall Street is coming off of its best day of the year with hopes for another rally, and it's likely all because of one word: patience. Yes, that's right. The virtue, not the sick person at the doctor's office. That one word, patience, spoken by the right person, and it calmed investors' nerves. Fed Chair Janet Yellen took Wall Street by storm, invigorating the market with her latest statement. In it, Yellen says the Federal Reserve plans to exercise patience before inflating the interest rates. That will likely happen sometime next year, but it won't happen tomorrow, and that is the thing that investors wanted to hear. They sent the Dow Industrial Average up by 288 points, about 1.5%. The broad market was up by 2%, again, the biggest day on Wall Street this year. Just days before he shot a German exchange student to death, a Montana man said he had been wanting to shoot kids who were burglarizing homes in the area. Prosecutors say Marcus Karma left his garage door open at night and set alarms, hoping to bait an intruder. And when the alarm went off in April, he went into the garage and immediately fired at an unarmed teen in his garage, killing him on the spot. Karma used the Castle Doctrine defense, saying that he was justified because he was protecting his friends and family. But a jury didn't see it that way. They convicted him of deliberate homicide. Karma now faces a minimum of 10 years in prison. In other news, a rocket launch tower in Mississippi never quite got off the ground, as in no rockets ever took off from that location. And then NASA canceled the whole project 4 years ago. Now ABC News launched an investigation to find out why American taxpayers are forced to pay $1 million every year to maintain that failed facility. Who saved the tower to nowhere? The Mississippi congressional delegation, led by Senator Roger Wicker. So reporters went to the Senate to track him down and ask him some tough questions. For instance, is he keeping this place open? Is it really about space travel, or is it actually about saving the largest employer in the country? The Obama administration has no plans to ever use that tower, and Senator Wicker is betting your money that the next president will. Well, we hear a lot about cutting the cord these days, and it usually has a lot to do with the television going wireless. But it is also happening to the old-fashioned telephone. As the Centers for Disease Control say, for the first time ever, the majority of American children live in homes without a landline. A national health survey finds 52% of all children, more than 38 million of them, live in homes with only cell phones. The co-author of the report describes the mobile-only population as the young and the restless. People either renting homes who have lower incomes or adults living with roommates. In case you were wondering why this is important to the CDC, the agency is missing almost half of all households in America when it conducts its phone surveys about people's health. Well, you might call it a paperweight, but BlackBerry calls it a classic. Yes, BlackBerry, the one-time darling of the mobile phone business. They are unveiling a new device, and it looks a lot like an old one, and it is on purpose. The company that almost went out of business, was almost put out of business by Apple and Samsung, says it is trying to lure back its traditional customers with signature features like a hard external keyboard and a trackpad. It is dubbed the Classic. AT&T and Verizon will both be selling it. It's one of the biggest mysteries of the 20th century, the legend of Alcatraz, that storied federal prison just off the shores of San Francisco Bay. For over 50 years, many of us have always wondered, could those few escaped prisoners have survived? They've made movies about it, but we've never discovered any evidence of those three prisoners. Frank Lee Morris, Clarence Anglin, and John Anglin. They somehow managed to escape from Alcatraz, slip the prison guards, and they took off on the perilous journey across the 2-mile stretch of shark-infested waters in a rubber raft made out of raincoats. FBI detectives believe that the currents were just too strong and the water was so cold that there's no way that they survived the trip. But now, decades later, a new study from Dutch researchers indicates that they could have survived. They had a chance, but it was slim and the window was very small. Based on a tidal current map from the cold night on June 11th of 1962, researchers believe that the prisoners might have actually survived, but only if they left the island between 11 and midnight. Had they left just 1 hour later, they would have been pushed back to the bay, no doubt caught by the prison guards. Either way, it is a fascinating study. And during the holiday season, a lot of good news is happening. One of those heartwarming stories takes place 30,000 feet above sea level. It's in an airplane. It's the Mile High Club of a different kind. Southwest pilots were forced to make an emergency landing when a passenger went into labor on a plane. She started having a baby. Picture that. I imagine cabin pressure was at an all-time high. Fortunately for the mother and baby, there just happened to be a doctor and a nurse on board, and they helped deliver the newborn while the rest of the passengers had front row seats. But there's a little bit of a confusion about what to put on the birth certificate. The plane was flying from San Francisco to Phoenix, and while the baby was born somewhere in that flight path, the plane actually had to turn around and land in Los Angeles. So on the baby's records, it will show that the birth took place in Los Angeles.